storage units. So yeah, up here in the Northwest, there's actually quite a few like tiny home manufacturers, that type of storage unit type thing. So I found a bunch of them just off of Google, and a lot of them are central, kind of majority in Tacoma down to about, I think it's like Salem is where there's a lot of manufacturers.
Okay, I'll check that out because I've seen a few. One of them I really liked, and I'm just trying to do some for my numbers. And I'm looking at some in the Midwest and stuff, and then I have to put them on a container ships and then put them on rail to get them to the
Yeah.
docks in Oakland or Seattle or
Yep.
Long Beach, you know. So I'm just trying to do some numbers, but I was wondering and thank you for helping me with that. If you know of any that I'll still look them up, but if you have anybody that you could recommend or anything like that, that would be really nice too.
Yeah, no, totally. It's been a couple years when we're on Oahu, actually, we were trying to order about 200 tiny homes. So I visited a couple of manufacturers in the Portland area, and so try look at Portland first.
Okay.
And if you have trouble trying to figure out which ones are the best, then shoot it over to me, and then I'm happy to look at them with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That it's kind of fun doing this.
Oh yeah. All kinds of good fun stuff. It's fantastic.
You know, it's funny when they say, you know, if you love what you do, you know,
Yeah.
it's like work. And
oh yeah, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
Good. Right on. Yeah, let us know.
Okay.
Then, Layla, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You're smiling. We love it.
I just realized that our link didn't get posted to Instagram. So
So she's doing that now.
I was going to say, so she cut herself off as she decided she's going to go post the link. Like, gosh, it's such suspense. And now she's joining us again. That's fantastic. Thanks, Annabelle. I was about to comment too, and I'm like, really? Do you go by a full Annabelle, or what do you go by, Anna?
Yeah, I go by Annabelle because my mom's Anna.
Oh, gotcha. That's awesome. So when you have one daughter one day, you're going to name her Belle.
I thought about it, like an Isabel or like a
yeah.
maybe Annabeth. No.
Just so you can make it super confusing. That's awesome. Well, welcome everybody on Friday. Corey's still going to try to jump on a little bit, but Layla's actually going to take lead today, which is exciting. I'm going to be her cheerleader. If she can help herself from not disconnecting herself, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, it was like this call is going to be recorded, and then I hit leave. But sorry.
It's complicated, I know. But thanks everybody for the continued efforts on Maui. It's it continues to be so heartbreaking, but it's cool to just see the number of people who are coming together. We started a little fund of just some friends in the area for the insurance deductibles, and so it's been pretty powerful. We've been able to give away some money and hear people's stories who are just trying to get access to money, and it's really it's frustrating for some people to figure out how to get access to some money, and there's money going out there, but so that's been kind of cool. If any of you hear of somebody who knows somebody or is related to somebody who lost their home and they're trying to get back moving, then we will take a look at seeing if we could help cover their insurance deductible. And we'd love to do that. And we actually have too much money, so we really need to give away some more money. In the end, we'll probably donate it to one of the bigger groups, but this particular group really wanted to give towards insurance deductibles. So we really want to try to maintain the integrity of that. And we actually we actually have video recording of the interview, so our team is editing that, so we'll be able to put that up too and maybe inspire some others to keep helping. So it's pretty cool. So please, yeah, if you know of anybody at all, happy to talk with them or refer them over.
Is it okay to post about it, or do you want us to just directly intimately with
feel free to post, and I think part of posting is just to try to keep reminding people that are really impacted that there's still people out here that are still in this with them. I think that some people in Maui are starting to feel like, man, it's been 2.5 weeks now, and it's like, it doesn't feel like things are getting better overnight, which obviously it can't happen overnight, but at least we want to make sure that everybody knows we're still here. We're still going to keep helping.
And then which like is email best to direct them to reach out to you, or?
Yeah, you're welcome to email. Yeah, you can either go through Layla or go straight to me. It's Keikoa at, probably the easiest is teamkeikoa.com. Easier to remember, Keikoa at teamkeikoa.com. You can't get any more self-centric than that little email address. So yeah, happy to chat with anybody. Thanks, Annabelle. Layla, do you wanna start taking it from here, or how can I help?
So because I was actually trying to get the call link onto Instagram at the same time so that we could get a few more people on here. But okay, it just got done. So we're gonna start out the call with just the updates of what people have been working on in regards to the Maui relief offline, and just educate everyone about the opportunities and resources out there that might be helpful. So we have just a few. I'm gonna just start with some of the ones that I found in our Slack channel. The county has waived real property taxes for residential and commercial structures damaged by the fires. This includes all improved properties in Upcountry, Kihei, and Lahaina. So if anyone knows someone who's lost a house in those 3 areas, please let them know that they are not responsible for paying the property taxes for this year. I don't see Te on the call right now, but she is reached out looking for stake down tents, large stake down tents, so 40 by 20s, the party style when you go luau. She is looking for those. So if you have a lead to somebody who might have access to 40 by 20 tents, please, you can let me know, and I can refer, I can let Tade know to give you a call since she's not here. I also found that any medical coverage that was lost due to job losses or a limited financial status is available to the residents of Maui through Quest, and they can apply for that through Quest. Annabelle has more updates as well, so I'm gonna hand that over to you, Annabelle.
Thanks, Layla. So the Hawaii Realtors Association and National has come out with housing relief funds. They have a budget of $1.5 million, and they are giving up to $3,000 per household. I will leave the website for that if anybody knows anybody that needs housing relief only. So this is for rentals, mortgage expenses, and hotel reimbursement. So it's not to be used for vehicles, personal property, and all that stuff. And I did go on a webinar this morning. Layla, would it be okay to share screen so I can?
Oh yeah, sure.
Might be easier.
That might be Sheena.
Down allowing.
Okay.
Able to.
I was like, I
Got
don't
it.
do that.
That's Sheena. Hey, Sheena. Hey, can I ask a quick question while you're getting that up and running? So all these great updates, do you feel that the information is getting out there in terms of these resources, or should we try to even brainstorm ways to get the communication channels even more clear?
I have been seeing like the updates that I've been posting, like making videos and reels on them. They are getting shared throughout people's stories, but I'm not sure exactly how effective it is. The property tax one, it was shared on Hungry Hungry Hawaiian. So I know that one reached a lot of people. But as far as like these other smaller ones, they're kind of just, I guess, within my followers and network and stuff. And if I know any of the families directly, then I'll send them the links and the applications directly,
Gotcha.
but not sure how effective it's going. Yeah.
Well, some of it is just such good updates, and there's, it's a shame that the news isn't covering it all better.
Yeah, and the last one I did tag Maui Now, I think Maui News as well. Hungry Hawaiian wouldn't share it because FEMA was the organizer of the recovery center. So he didn't, I guess they don't want the controversy because people don't trust FEMA.
So sad, John. So sad.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if you folks heard, my son is actually a firefighter on Oahu, and he just called me a minute ago, and I was just asking him, how come you didn't go over? Like, I think it just feels like they need more, some more additional emergency response teams just to assist. And he said they were super frustrated, but FEMA called them off and won't let them come over, which is super sad.
I think a lot of the problem with that too was even if they came over, there was no equipment for them to use, and they couldn't really help like fighting fires or anything, basically because they had no equipment. That was one of the biggest issues with Oahu firefighters trying to come over.
Yeah, that's probably true. But even in like some of the search and recovery, it's like there still seems to be, a lot of remains that have been unidentified. But anyway, sorry, didn't mean to divert. Annabelle, go for it. SBA disaster loan update.
Okay. So I was just on a
Such
webinar.
Powerful title.
They are, I mean, the updates are good because things are changing still. So I wanted to point that out, that even though we have an update right now, they're still kind of working. And the one thing that I asked them was, they said it applies to all businesses on Maui County, but I couldn't get clarity if it applies to like investors and other business owners that are on outer islands that are losing business income on Maui. So they did mention that in the near future, they're talking about it for it to open up to outer islands if you are doing business on Maui. So that's kind of what I got from there. But just quickly, the updates, there's 2 types of lending options that they're doing. So physical loan damage, that's due by October 10th. So they have less than 3 weeks to get that in. 1, 2, yeah. And that is meant to cover the gap after insurance or any lawsuit payouts. So this is like any excess that isn't covered for homeowners, renters, and businesses, then the SBA loan would kind of help alleviate that gap. EIDLs, they are open for 9 months until May 10th of next year because they're staying during the winter and stuff. We don't know how much ripple effect is going to happen from all of this, like the tourism slowing down, businesses being burnt down, people out of jobs, affecting the economy and stuff like that. So that application is open a little bit longer. And it is a loan, so you have to qualify for them. If you are you can get denied if you defaulted on an SBA loan before, or if you have federal debts like child support, tax liens, or student loans. And if you have a current SBA loan, like the COVID-19 EIDL, you can still apply to see if you qualify for additional funds. So like if your business income is a lot higher than what you reported during the COVID years and you still have some room in your debt, I don't know if they use a debt to income ratio, but if you still have room for additional funds, they will lend you more. The difference between this loan for the disaster loan and the COVID loan is your interest. For the first year after the disbursement, you have no interest at all. For the COVID loan, the interest was deferred. So you didn't have a payment, but you were still accumulating interest on the loan. So one thing that they said was you don't need to take the disbursement right away. So you can apply today and you can choose in 5 months to actually take the money. So once you disperse the money, 1 year from that is when your first payment is due and you have no interest in that 12 months that from when you take the disbursement. So if you don't know if you want to take a loan and, you know, put yourself in debt, you can take the loan for the 1 year and pay it back, like hold it in a reserve and don't spend it all and blow it all. But if use it like as a reserve, yeah, and then pay it back within that 1 year and you don't have any interest on it. So that's the one benefit that they said was the difference between this disaster loan and the COVID-19 loan. And this is the first time they're doing this for the disaster loan, I think is what they said.
That's pretty attractive.
Yeah. So you can just hold funds and then
Yeah,
not
just
have
in
any
case.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah. But the discipline is not spending it
Yeah.
on the wrong stock. You know, it's like, maybe I should go do this. But yeah,
Right.
but interest-free money would be great just as a backup emergency plan. That's awesome.
Mhm. Yeah. And then besides the SBA, they did talk about like the Hawaii and Maui Chamber of Commerce. There are no grants as of right now for businesses that were affected, but they are collecting funds for business relief, and whether it's going to be a microloan or a grant is still to be determined. And then in-person assistance for all applications, so FEMA, SBA, Red Cross, what else was there? Salvation Army. They also have unemployment insurance division there, and just the DCCA is at these locations. So in-person assistance, like a one-stop shop, the UHMC campus, as well as the Pukalani Community Center, it just opened today. I just drove by it this morning, and they're open, they're ready to take people, but they are there to help people fill out applications. And when I went the other day, I saw a lot of kupuna and like immigrants that don't speak good English, that can't do their applications on their own. So the help is out there for them to go apply, people that are not tech savvy, like those kind of people that can't do it on their own. But I think it's good practice to go anyway, because you don't know if you're going to be doing something wrong on an application. Third location is in Kihei, Hawaii Small Business Development Center. They are more so for business recovery, but they are welcoming non-business applicants, because the other location, when I went to UHMC, it was packed. There was a wait. I was there for like 3 hours just to do one thing. So yeah, and then they're working on opening a location in Lahaina. And then resources will be changing over the next few months, like we were talking about the grants and loans and stuff like that from Chamber of Commerce. And that webinar was this morning. It's not posted yet, but if anybody wants more clarity or more information, because it was an hour and a half long, but that's just the sum of it, then you can go to risingtidehawaii.com to catch the replay. Lawyers for Lahaina was also on there, kind of going over some legal stuff, but I had to log off before that to catch this meeting. So yeah, that's all I have to share.
Those are good updates. Great
Those
stuff.
Maybe we can get with what was his name that does the social media content and create something from today's updates to put out there for everyone can share. I don't know if you want to go to our regular coffee talk vibe, Kikwa, with our leads, needs, and good deeds.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else we want to talk about on the Maui side? Anybody else have anything else you've heard or?
Can I ask Annabelle a question?
Yeah. How's it?
How's it, Kiko? We're just wondering, is there any entity or organization that's setting itself apart as a good handler of funds? I got a group that's looking to make a donation, but there's so many entities out there. Do you have an opinion on which ones are best to handle funds and make sure they get dispersed properly?
Honestly, just like you, like I'm seeing a bunch of different ones, but to right now, the only one that's actually come out with a process is the Hawaii Association of Realtors, but they already have their funds and they already have their criteria and stuff. I would say just wait and see how everybody that's collecting these big donations, there's one that's like at $2 million right now, but they haven't announced what they're going to be doing with the funds. And that was Oprah's question too, is like, where are the funds going? How is it going to go to help? So yeah, it's so unclear right now.
Okay, thank you.
Can I say something about that? Because I work for Peter Merriman over here in at the Monkey Pod in Wailea, and they're collecting donations because the Merriman's in Kapalua has been closed due to not being able to open, and the Monkey Pod in Ka'anapali has been closed. And we're doing funds for them. 60% of the people that work up in those North Shore or up in the West Side have lost their homes, and 100% of them are not working up there right now. And we're doing a fundraiser for, or not fundraiser, we're doing donations for them, and all of the money goes directly to the restaurant people. So if I don't know how to post for you guys. I don't know how to post the barcode, but if you're interested, you're welcome to contact me about it, because I just have a lot of passion and feeling for these people. They're a part of my community, and we all work for the same person. And Peter Merriman's been taking extremely good care of the people that come into the Monkey Pod in Wailea. We have bought so many dinners and lunches for everyone that has come in. He just has always said that Maui has given so much to him that it's his way to give back. So, and I'm sure you could find it on the website, Monkey Pod Kitchens in Maui. So
I'll try and look for that link while we go through this call for you, Tammy, and drop that in the chat.
sure, thank you.
Do we have any other questions? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut everybody short. Good. Oh, hey, what's up, Keone? Peep you down there in the corner. Okay, we lost Kekoa. So, actually, I guess we should move over to any leads, needs, or good deeds for, I'm sure there's a lot of good deeds for this call. Does anyone have any of those? Okay. Well, what is the vibe that everyone's getting as far as the market here on Oahu? Has anyone found it's impacting, the fires are impacting anything in the market? I'm not a realtor, so if there's any realtors out there, I'd be curious to hear.
I've got one from the commercial side.
Okay.
Let me turn on my camera here. Hey everybody. So yeah, we've been in negotiations for a warehouse for a wine and liquor distributor, and we just got a proposal like probably a few days after the fire. Turns out the company had about 6 to 7 accounts on Front Street, and with the loss of revenue, it resulted in about a little over $2 million in lost revenue annually. So we're gonna have to pump the brakes on our space because of that, and they're letting go of some staff, and we've been looking for over a year for a space in a competitive market. So that's an impact that I didn't anticipate, and it's it's very real. I mean, that gross sales went from 60K down to 5K per month, or per week, excuse me, per week. So yeah. So I'm in lieu of that, I'm working with some insurance companies and brokers to better understand if there's any coverage possible, because it's such a shock that it's the typical response is like, okay, let's just let go of some people and put some things on pause. So I'm trying to help stabilize a little bit, and because this is such an unprecedented event, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of that type of reaction. So that is, I don't know where you would categorize that in your leads, needs, and wants, but that's an issue.
Yeah,
and the ripple effect it's going to continue to reveal itself as we go through our day to day. So,
I mean, you say you're looking for insurance. What does that mean?
So business interruption insurance, it's part of your a typical insurance package that a business would purchase for liability and coverage. Oftentimes, however, I'm finding that it's overlooked. So that's not all insurance policies are created equally. So I think it's good practice now to talk to existing clients to see if they have it, and if they don't, what's the increase in policy to get that additional rider on there. So
That's a good
I mean,
idea.
yeah.
Don't really think about that when you're buying your insurance, right? You're buying your general liability, you're buying your, for an investor, I'm buying builder's risk. But I never considered, like, if something like this was to happen on Oahu in my area where I'm, invested, that's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, this could even go for contractors as well who may have had jobs for developing or redeveloping projects in Lahaina. It's like, yeah, now we lost, millions of dollars in potential revenue for projects that were on the books. It's like, how do you replace that, and how do you account for that? So it's just beyond just commercial real estate. It definitely has lasting impacts throughout all industries and market verticals. So. Yeah, we're going to learn a lot through this whole process.
Yeah, we are. It's the ripples, right? Now we're starting to, we're still only a couple weeks out from, that unfortunate fire, and it's already starting to ripple its way out. So it's just, how big is that ripple going to get, and how do we kind of mitigate any additional shockwaves, I guess, from impacting our businesses. Ave might have some good input on that if he's okay to talk. We're just talking about the ripple effect, how it's making its way to Oahu, from Lahaina, from Kihei or Wailuku. No, not Wailuku, was Kula. Yeah, Kula was affected. So do you have any idea, with you being on the forefront of the restaurants?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Ave Kwok, with Hawaii Restaurant Association, and also I'm also just like you, a small investor. And thanks for the platform, everybody organizing this. So, for us as a restaurants field, well, one of the things everybody knows when place get hit like this, the first things is the food and water. And so that's where we have to step in a lot of time. We have about 15 different group of people. One of them leading it is Tamara. And if everybody know Tamara, she owns the pineapple stores at Lahaina and Spurned. We have a couple of restaurants, restaurant tours, actually, their entity get burned down as well. But they're heroes, so in our organization, we have long-term and short-term. So short-term wise is how to get the food and water to them. So these two major group of people, leading with 17 of those folks, they are on the ground. They are doing the best they can to coordinate. The government is also over there, but they are the one actually doing some volunteers and cooking burgers, getting water to them. So it's a short term. So the long term, I have a long discussion with them, is really the housing, right? So when you get enough food, enough water, the next thing what you're gonna need is really shelter. So, and we appreciate a lot of folks in Maui. The quickest solution is to get the residents to share the units, to get them in there, and as quick as possible, make a tent, that. But the long-term solution is the folks like you folks, how do you really plan? I seen Corey and Alex and Kikoa, they're discussing that, how to get a free land and, and governments to help on this whole things. Definitely, I think it's a grand slam solutions, to get this tiny house to the island. We know you folks have special track records of how to bring these tiny homes and all that. It is a grand solution, I tell you, and it's probably the fastest solution. I am a contractor by trade. We do a lot of housing projects. Again, the really quicker one is how to prefab this safely in other areas per spec, and then bring them to the island as soon as possible. We're also meeting with the governor, the mayor in the area, especially Josh Green as well. And I think he's really looking at multiple solutions, how to really quickly get this kind of housing solutions on board. So I think it's really the chance, if this group wants to put up something, I know you guys are already talking, and it's important to put some concrete requirements or demands, I would say, write it up and put them into a solution right away. The windows is gonna be very short, the opportunities over here, and but the people in Maui, they'll be greatly appreciated. So what we sense right now, folks, is about 2 to 3 weeks from the disaster right now. People on the ground, the food and drink wise, I think they're getting they're not enough, but they're getting replenished. And but the next things really they're looking around is to get shelter to live in, right? So, and that's a window of opportunities for everybody to really put in there. As you guys notice, a lot of these people, what we heard the numbers before was 11,000, but I think the number right now is getting reduced. Some of them, they probably find homes, Oahu, somewhere, move to, and and I think right now it probably, if we can somehow resolve like 200 to 500 of this kind of number of homes, that would be really helps a lot on this one. So yeah, so we should have more discussion on this one, but I think the quickest solution is really present that prefab ideas, get the land ready, and I believe the government can be a quicker vehicle to open up HECOs, Board of Water Supplies for that piece of land, and we also have a discussion about the housing, how long is the term. So I know you guys will discuss about maybe a couple of years, I think that timing might be too short. So they might not be interested for the government to really kick in to do something. Maybe you want to look at like 5 years or 10 years term kind of things. And in terms of that, of course, you gotta ask for the government to help on how to develop the land later on, or ask for some other development favors, Okay, so I think we're gonna leave it as is, and I will try to on the restaurant side, I think we have a very good connections with the governments, and we can probably besides do temporary help, but in the long term wise, we can probably sieve into the government's mind that, hey, there is the solution from civilians, and they probably faster and quicker, yeah. Okay.
Dave, I've just seen that they already brought in like 60 of those modular homes.
Yeah.
They're putting it on like 10 acres or something in Kahului. But they're only like 8 by, not only, but they're 8 by 20. Like, how do you put a family in an 8 by 20, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to do as many as a few hundred of these on 10 acres.
Who's paying for those?
It's a nonprofit. I don't know the name of the nonprofit. Hold on. Family Life Center.
Oh, Christian based.
And and it's, yeah, 60 homes were flown in on Sunday, and it says it takes like 3 to 5 minutes with one person on a forklift to set these up.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
And they're also being provided solar panels and batteries for the homes, electricity generators. They're not meant to be permanent, obviously, but they each have their own kitchen and bathroom in 8 by 20.
It's like a trailer home, kind of mobile home type thing. That's cool though. I mean, it's a home.
So, I mean, people are moving. I'm guessing they must have already had a heads up on this. Like there's, you know, or maybe it's because they own that land.
Well, again, nonprofit faith-based has a lot more flexibility to if they own the land, because all they have to do is call it an community outreach, and they can do everything from food pantry to, I mean, so much stuff that corporations can't do. So that's perfect.
Yeah,
That's
it's owned by
awesome.
King's Cathedral.
Yeah, King's Cathedral is the largest church on Maui.
Got it.
So if anybody's gonna to do something pretty powerful, it'd probably be a church like that. At least they're those usually can be the fastest to respond. And then hopefully over time, like Abe was saying, that there'll be more permanent solutions.
You
Yeah.
know, there's the level of talks. I just want to share that with you folks. Is I guess there's a rebuild Lahaina concept. So I think, of course, as local people here, we're eager to bring the culture back, the same look of Lahaina back quickly. But there is also a concern as well, right, guys? You know, you bring it so fast. You know, that place has proven 2 times, you know, 1 flood and 1 fire. You know, how many times we had to prove that it's going to be more disaster coming. So carefully designed Lahaina is very, very important. You know, and you know, my warnings to that group when we had the panel discussion is, yes, you know, no matter how much you hate it to the DPP, but you know, you had to do something that really long term. You know, by rushing it, there's a huge local groups pushing it. You know, put the Lahaina back, same thing, same ways. You know, we want it back on the business, but is that the right way? You know, and it's, to me, is very short sighted. You know, everybody knows you're building out of the wood, it's gonna get burned again. You know, what kind of materials you're gonna have to use? That's number one. Number two, in the area, you know, is that something that we can build for barricades, or you know, prevent these kind of things again happens? Maybe certain areas should be exclusive that to be built as concrete. So if the fire's directions is from that, so it separates from the town to certain areas. So things need to be very carefully doing it. I know the government right now is looking at that. So the opportunities here, guys, is I know some of your developers are interested to redevelop. So you might want to keep a close eye in the area. $5 billion gone. I think they're planning about $15 billion to put it in. You know, the opportunities gotta be there. And how do you look at how to put that? That also is a good long-term solutions to put the economy of Maui back faster. You know, how to rebuild the Lahaina. And but again, you know, the thing is gotta be built right? And there should be intensified groups with a very good mind of the developments into the area. I believe governor is looking at that effort to how to bring these top people back, and then how to redevelop. 25% of the economy of Maui depends on Lahaina. So to build it back as soon as possible with careful approach is very important. So that's another things that was in the discussion panel of a housing area.
Well, I didn't know that about 25% of their economy was just based on Lahaina, but I guess that makes sense. Because there's really only like 4 resort areas on the island in general.
Yeah. You know, we experienced hits with the restaurant field. You know, this is probably about hundreds of those food entities burned, right? So aftermath, you have a lot of people lost their job, and you know, you're looking at restaurants, and they don't have, and some of them, they probably won't stay in Maui. They probably move to Oahu or outer islands, and you might have a loss of labor as well. You know, to really put it back there, it's not just the loss of economy. You know, also the labor as well. So it's important to how to put that back carefully. You know, and but again, you know, the location has proved its own problems, and so how do you really design it correctly? You know, my my best sense is I don't think we should design things out of the wood anymore for that location. It's bad, right? And also there might be a more stringent requirement on the fire protection system, you know, floods, all kind of stuff in that area.
Okay. Yeah, I actually, it's so hard because like you want to help them rebuild, but you want to be sensitive, right, to the grieving process, to their processing this full loss in general. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of the focus now will just, I think, is keeping informed on what the city plans are for the area in a longer term.
Yeah.
Yeah, and an even bigger issue is the water rights, as I'm sure a few of you guys have started to see that, and it starts there. I mean, water is life. The place should not have been, you know, in a drought situation. It was the Venice of the Pacific before Western contact. So that's a very deep conversation that is starting to happen in terms of what's the next phase of Lahaina, right? And that's a huge cultural push, and you know, I fully support it. I mean, these islands are not supposed to burn. They're not supposed to, and it did and it's very clear on where the water went and who's benefiting from it and who was hurt from it. So yeah, this is definitely not any short-term solution. So it'll be interesting. I mean, how all of this unfolds. There's the right thing to do, and then there's what people will end up doing. So, you know, true colors are gonna show. I think a lot of pressure is getting put on those entities that have diverted the water away from West Maui. So, just something to keep an eye on.
Sorry, we have 10 minutes left for the day. So I just wanted to, you know, thank you for continuing this conversation about Maui. Thank you to Abe for speaking on all his knowledge. But I did want to just bring up one more thing. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with Jiro, who is, and this is relevant to like investing in general. Jiro Sumada, sorry. He is the new deputy director for DPP. He is actually very, he's starting to really get out into the community and educating investors about what the planning department is doing to better their systems and processes, to decrease permitting time, to just an overhaul in general of their system and process. So he's met so far. There was one event yesterday at the Hub Co-working Hawaii, and then he did speak with the real estate investors Oahu meetup that Cheryl Matsuoka and Corey run. And that was a great informative session. So I did want to see if it would be worth it for anyone on this call to have him come on and kind of just speak to everyone on a coffee talk and be open for questioning. If they're willing, if you guys are interested in it, I can set it up.
Absolutely. And then I can try to throw that in the Maui permit department face and have them come on.
Okay.
Great idea. So just listen from the horse's mouth what the planning is gonna be. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, if you were at that meetup,
Yeah.
And it was so great. I mean, he's got a lot of things to say. He understands the investors' space, where and why people are upset, and he handles it with such grace. So as long as we are agreed to all be good stewards, I'll bring him on.
Yeah, I like that little italics boldface. As long as we all behave or agree to be good stewards. I like that. No, I think that's going to be a powerful session. In fact, I think that it leads to really maybe, all of us on this call and over the last couple of weeks, we're really tied to real estate. We're tied to investing, and we're really here to try to figure out how to help the people of Maui. One of the things I think that we could talk to DPP about is, how do we as investors help people on Maui protect their homes? And that seems to be a big concern now, is that a lot of investors are starting to try to figure out how to, mooch, cockroach, and find strategies to take the land away, or, big developers want to redevelop the whole thing. So maybe there's a way that we as investors can slide in and be a support to DPP and be able to try to figure out a way in which we can stand with DPP, which will build great relationships with them over time. But it also helps to show that us investors, we're not just here to try to make money and buy real estate. We're here to help make a difference, help people's lives, help people that are having trouble. And so maybe as we start to watch this story continue to unfold, there's only so much we can do in certain aspects, when it comes to what FEMA's trying to do and what, all the legal authorities can do. But I think there's still a really important space that we can all slide in. And I think we just got to keep listening for that door to open. And when it does, we'll be ready and we slide on in. And then we really try to make a big difference in that space. And so, yeah, I think it's a great one.
Perfect. Well, if I'd open the floor for the last, 5 minutes, if anyone else wants to contribute to the call. Otherwise, we can.
can I just share some thoughts with what Kiko just said? I think this group of platform people, you guys are very smart investors, very good people. And for the short term wise, how to bring food and bring water to Maui, I don't think we really necessarily need that, because everybody's doing it. It's how you guys come up as a heroic act, how to plan with the government, the DPP, and everybody, how to get people more into this affordable housing. Affordable housing has been a big problem, especially after this fire. It's gonna be a bigger problem, and I count it as an opportunity, guys, right? So if there's a high demand, and there's a high demand on building this kind of format, it's important that you guys gotta get ready. For example, you may have an internal architect, you might have a friends, you might have come out some of the formats that really fits to this category of the affordable housing. We should get that. You should get that ready, and maybe work with Kiko and them and presented it, to the government and said, we have this format, we can build it fast and better. And I think that they're very, very open to listen. They probably listen to hundreds of plans about how to really build these homes and house faster and better. But I think this group of people, I firmly believe you guys have the solution. Some of you had built it before. and I have a chance to visit them before, you know, and so quickly to bring that and to the Maui, I think it really helps on resolving their problems.
I love it. Thanks, Abe. Well, we appreciate you, Abe. We appreciate, you know, everybody. You know, I mean, we're not giving up. We're going to be here for our ohana, and this is going to be a long journey together. And so, when everybody else gets tired, let's not get tired of doing what's right, and we'll keep finding a way. So, Layla, thanks for that. Yeah, if the DPP guy can show up, then we can maybe even pick his brain and just be like, hey, what are the pukas that he's seeing that we could slide into as investors? You know, because like Abe said, I mean, hey, there's plenty of water at this point, and there's plenty of, you know, that the easy low-hanging fruit is there. The longer term solution is the bigger challenges. I was just talking to one local family, and she's like, I never updated my insurance policies because nobody ever thinks of that. And so their $1.2 million home they lost, they're only getting $300,000 to rebuild. And so she's just like, you know, and she's been talking to a lot of other people, same situation, because, you know, I mean, none of us ever really think about updating our home ownership policies because it means that our coverage is going to go up, our premiums go up, right? But that's a good thing for every single one of us to know for sure. But, you know, those are the types of things that's, you know, somebody needs to be helping these people think through. And, you know, there's nobody really out there on the streets saying, hey, if you're a homeowner and you have confusion with regards to your home, you know, talk to us. We don't want to buy your property. We want you to keep it, and we want to help you keep it, you know, but how do you keep it when you're only getting what is that? Not even a third of what you're going to actually need to rebuild, kind of a thing, right? So it'll be interesting, and maybe that's where we slide in. We'll see how that looks. So yeah, everybody give some thoughts to that. I think that as you know, you watch the stories and how the help is coming, let's just keep our ears open to where there's a puka and, you know, what we can do that fits our real estate sweet spot. Because we're all super smart people. We can figure out how to do deals. We can build on a budget. You know, we know how to work with contractors. And so at some point in the future, all of our skill sets are going to be able to intertwine into really making a difference. So we just got to keep listening for that.
Right on. Yeah, I know right after, you know, we heard about
Good stuff there in the slides, but well, hey, it's top of the hour. This was very effective, good use of time for sure. Annabelle, keep us updated. I dropped my email because somebody was asking.
Oh, you cut off, Kikoa.
Yeah.
And they are in a position where they need maybe some assistance with their, what do you call it, deductible. Just let us know.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Annabelle, for that link for the pulelehua.com. I'm gonna definitely.
Yeah, it's a very big development that has been in the works for Lahaina for a while. It's 304 acres of residential community as well as commercial. So he was on the last council hearing, and the county is in favor of just letting that process keep going and eliminating the red tape and supporting him and finishing that development.
Right on. Yeah, thank you.
Is that, Annabelle, do you know if that's going to be affordable housing, or is that, you know, basically another massive development that's going to have $1 million price points?
Yeah, so they have workforce housing part of the project. I think that's anything that's in Maui that's a development is required to have some of the units workforce. I'm not too sure how much though. I honestly haven't really looked into it because it's been one of those projects that have been sitting for a while, like years. Yeah. But now that they're in need of it, they're just gonna try to get them right through it. 2024, 2025, I think, is when they anticipate homes becoming available.
I think it says it's workforce housing and long-term rental is the goal.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
big.
I'm not an expert.
Yeah. The hard part about workforce housing is that workforce housing in Hawaii, the price point is still sometimes pretty steep, you know, for a local family to afford it. You know, it's like, yay, it's only $700.
Mortgage payment is still $3,000, $4,000 a month.
Yeah. I mean, what we really need in Hawaii is not Section 8 type housing, but like workforce, multifamily, long-term housing that's in a safe community, that's got good families trying to work hard, you know, that type of a thing. So, I mean, maybe we'll watch out for that, and maybe Abe can keep his ears open to those opportunities too, because that I think will really make a difference, and it makes a good difference for investors too. Eventually, investors will come to Maui when the doors open for it. But if investor money can meet practical needs on Maui for the local family, then it's a win-win. You know, it's like, hey, we got land, we need billions of dollars to build long-term multifamily workforce housing. You know, who's in? And so eventually we can get those kinds of dollars. We just got to find that, like Annabelle said, we got to find people who are willing to get rid of the red tape.
I think you guys are on the right target to look at workforce housing. You know, when the economy is such a trauma, one of the important elements is to how to bring the workers back to work, and then, you know, they're the one that pays rents, you know, and that's a big chunk of decisions to put them in the housing, and so they can properly work and feed their families. One of the best format I see, you know, is 801 South on Honolulu, in Honolulu by Kapiolani. So you folks might want to kind of study that format. They're there for sale, you know, and not for rent. So what I found out is the formats is build it the decent material, decent shape, but they're not very exaggerated to be fancy, but it's a very nice building. So you see entire homes and people's they're working class. And they don't have a swimming pool, so the maintenance is very low. So you can see that in the long run, in the long term, I seen anything on Kapiolani since the FAR got changed, you know, they double, except these guys. So it becomes still very, very affordable. It's very popular, you know. So I just wanted to put everybody in your mind that yes, you can build a lot of affordable housing and workforce housing, but really it's the later on, after 5 years, 10 years, what happened to that affordability, you know, and they're gonna be become very expensive in that. For example, if it's Lahaina or whatever area it is, it will not be affordable anymore. So make sure that when they plan and build, the elements there, you know, what costs the things going up, the maintenance fees, you know, the areas, the tax, you know, it's very important. And I think some of you get in touch with, I saw there's a chat to ask for, you know, a pay for the property tax. Definitely, you know, that's what your developer is here for. You give government something, you have to ask something back, right? So this is really a golden opportunity, you know, put the plans together. You know, if you have a piece of land and can get it developed, maybe this is the time that can do it now. What I see is, guys, right now, there's a big developers, Stanford Cars, you know, Christine Camps. But you know what, they, you know, I work with them all the time. And but I can tell you, there are the developers that are very savvy type, right? They know what they're doing, and they can do things slam down. But again, they also need a long-term planning as well. This is the time that we're missing a lot of medium-sized or small-sized developers, and which you guys have a lot of lands. You have accessible lands, and that can put the plans together and develop better, faster, you know, than the big guys, you know. And the big guys still good. They can do all the multi units of housing there. But for the 40s and 40 to 200 units, those type of housing developments, there's a big gap. They don't want to touch it. I know Christine won't touch it. I know Stanford Car won't touch it. You know, and I know some of the great Maui developers, they won't touch it because for them it's not cost efficient. So right now, it really is a great opportunity to look at the workforce housing. You know, look at the 801 South formats, which is developed by Marshall Hung, and if you later on, if you guys, I don't know if it's possible, and if you want to put Marshall on the platform to talk, I mean, he may have a good insight of how to, look at this portion of the area, how he successfully built a workforce housing for Honolulu. And that two towers, one tower is about 440 units and the other one is about 389 units. When it first came out, it's over 7,000 families are waiting. They want to get in. So, and does it resolve the problem of the market? Yes, it did a great impact to the market. But again, Marshall is pretty old, over 70 already. So who's going to continue that legend, right? So one of you folks maybe sometimes talk to these professionals, and then you may be able to pick the brains and continue on.
That's a lot of units. Actually, that's the
Sounds
building we
good.
used to live in. That
Okay. Oh,
and
great.
it's nice. It's just, it's not fancy.
Yeah.
Lot
But
of-
the nice things about that building is your neighbors, right? They're all working professional. They're very nice families. The audience for that building is awesome. I love to go to that building. Yeah, I'm going this weekend for a birthday party, by the way.
Oh, they
Yeah.
and they have a really good party space, that big room thing.
Yeah.
And they
We-
rent-
The split AC in that unit, so we know every single unit in that format. And they build it in a way that is very livable. They're not tight and small, but with a great location and great view, right? So yeah.
All right, guys, we went a little bit over, but thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, Annabelle, for all the updates you always give. They're always great.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Let's have a great Friday and a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Safe.
Yes.
Have a great weekend.
Bye. I'll send out that update with the DPP guy. So
Right.
keep you guys posted. Bye.